Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third podcast of this series that we're doing for XMEs, which is for both founders as well as students. So, this time around, we are trying video instead of audio. Let's see how it goes. I'm quite fidgety, quite stiff, but hopefully it will work out well. Not really particularly fond of being in front of the camera, but let's see how it goes. As it is with most things in entrepreneurship, we'll figure out the way it goes. Today we have Rishi with us. Rishi Kulkarni is a serial entrepreneur, and more importantly, he has transitioned from having a job to his first venture, which was acquired, then started another venture, which was acquired again. Probably very few people in the country have two successful exits in the short entrepreneurial history or the new tech entrepreneurial history that India has. And more importantly, he is a part of NSRCEL. His first venture was incubated NSRCEL. So much of his success we kind of claim through reflection that it was probably because of it. Let's see if it's true or not. Hey, hi, welcome, Rishi. Good to have you here. We've always been having random conversations over interesting fluids, but this time we need to have one formal. So maybe to kick off, here's what we could do. If we could tell a bit about your story in terms of your post-year engineering, which is where a lot of the students who come here, they just after a couple of years after their graduation, and take us through very quickly to that journey to your first venture. What pushed you to take that plunge?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this podcast, Professor Suresh and the team. This is IIM NSRCEL is turning out to be truly a home for entrepreneurs and founders, and may the thing continue.
May the tribe increase.
May the tribe increase. Just to quickly, I was just once when you nudged me to think of in this direction, I was just thinking, I just happened to be lucky to be at the right time at the right place in career, in tech, and things like that. But I grew up in Bombay, and the work ethic, just the go-getterness of the that Bombay/Mumbai culture had seeped in earlier itself. Had seen my dad run a bunch of businesses that he was actually general manager for, and his office used to be right next to the home, so I would actually go there and see him running the factory and things like that. So it's been that Bombay nature has been seeping in earlier. Engineer by qualification, but just from a values and just a belief perspective, always believe that technology plays a huge role in progress. And also very early on latched on to this very silly romantic thing that we need to build tech ground up out of India. And fast forward over 10 years of experience, just working in the US for a couple of years, working in India for a couple of years, just combined all of that came to fruition in my first startup in 2011. And that's the one click that I started in NSRCEL, was largely trying to build a technology, video, audio communication platform out of India for India that works for within the constraints of it, right? 2G dongles from Reliance were out that time, and to imagine your Zoom working over 2G that time, and those were the things that we're solving here, and the kind of customers we were selling it to were astrology.
Okay.
So astrology, and that was like a big thing, because imagine selling astrology sessions online to our customers, and they were using us. BPO hiring, BPO interviews. Because of the bulk number that they were having, they were having all of that. And then high touch customer support, be it car sales, car support, or insurance and things like that. Those seem like a very early day opportunity. But yeah, it's largely been engineering background, being at the right time when late 90s, early 2000s, internet was shaping up, technology was shaping up, open source was coming in. So there was just confluence of right things happening for India. Uh, Venture capitalism, especially for tech, was still very nascent stage. Uh, I don't think anybody was writing the check unless you were doing a Flipkart or something big in
E-commerce.
e-commerce. But things started changing, and I could see that from the lens of being at NSRCEL. I came here end 2011 or somewhere maybe 2012 or 2012, and we were a cohort of 13 companies here, just the top floor. Today, whatever NSRCEL is a much bigger place now, but we were there, and most of them were tech startups then. And I still remember the selection criteria, still going through the pitches and all those things. You could feel that something had changed in the air. And I just happened to be lucky to be in that time. So that was my basically growing up in Bombay, studying engineering, doing a run-of-the-mill job, but just this belief that hey, something is happening in the tech and something needs to be done out of India and not just be buy something off the shelf from California or UK or any of those things. And confluence of those things just happened to happen. And that's when I was there for the first startup.
But how would you rationalize an entrepreneurial decision to start? Because plunge decisions are actually very irrational because you're letting go of something which is for sure the time will propel you towards higher levels of an organization. Just stay put and the tide will take you up. And to say, I don't want to do all of this and start your own venture, how would you rationalize both in terms of the opportunity and the opportunity cost?
That's very right. I think I feel that again, as I said, that timing, luck, and just sometimes just being foolish is a good thing to be in there. Definitely, if you're an overthinker, overanalyzer, I doubt you get into an entrepreneurial path at all. But I think the way to really look at some of the opportunities there, in my case, if you look at the 2008, which was the financial crisis, and then later on 2010, 2012, you look at those timelines, what you're seeing is the early offshoots of really ability to do things. Open source had taken off. Anything that you talk about software is available for free for you to build stuff, not just to use stuff. So your cost is lower. This entire thing about selling online was taking off. That is, you could put up a website, you could put up an online purchase behavior, you could you could even sell in some of these Facebook groups which are taking off, and easily within a couple of months you could have your first 100 users or paid users. So that you could see it happening. So all the traditional challenges of building something like out of a factory compared to say open source, online, digital distribution like a HLL or something, physical distribution versus online user group distribution, payment collection, which was all again physical, bank transaction is all now an online payment. So there's infrastructurally so many things were changing. If you just connect those dots, this seems like the opportunity is right there. But the plunge part is the hard part. In the sense is traditionally, just the traditional upbringing is very much get the marks, get into one of these tier one institutes, bank loans, or if you're a later stage in your little later stage in your life, then marriage, home loans, kids, those are all there. But I feel that if I were to compare the generation in even 2000 to what we are today, is you can palpably feel the opportunity there and the winning opportunity there, and the potential to convert whatever your ideas to an upside is there. But having said that, I think you got to have some stay hungry, stay foolish kind of a DNA where this is an opportunity, and the upside for this is much bigger than any of the other opportunity costs that I'm calculating on my sheet or things like that. Um, I think it's also, I would compare now versus say 20 years ago. A lot of traditional thinking has also changed. Families, parents, and spouses are a lot more supportive of risk taking now. Ecosystem is supportive of guiding you through the risk taking that you are in. So I just feel that there's so much happening now that we need is just a mindset to take a plunge and do this. How to basically size an opportunity, how to look at an opportunity. I feel even I didn't know that, and that's where places like NSRCEL, folks like yourself, who are so much into promoting, building the ecosystem for entrepreneurship, that we got to learn from there is those these foundations that you built, and we have to use those for opportunities. I'm still not perhaps answering the plunge part of it because I think I just covered it with a loaded word called foolishness.
But you're basically saying that it is an irrational decision.
It's an irrational decision.
It can't be
It
rationalized.
is not.
It is like jumping off a cliff doing hang gliding.
Yeah.
You can live your life without hang gliding,
Yeah.
but if you'll have to hang glide, you have to at some point of
Yeah.
time separate yourself from.
You have to
cliff.
separate out, and perhaps I'm sorry. The way I was trying to find out is how can I get off that loaded comment of foolishness is, I think it comes back to start building some muscle early on in this behavior. So if you're at a job or a company, there is entrepreneurial opportunities that happen. That is, can you risk your promotion this year or whatever hike, like a couple of percentage, and then try out a new project which is little more sales oriented or a marketing oriented or a particular market oriented. Can you risk that one so that it builds that risk taking capacity? Can you engage with your conversations with your family wherein, hey, I've done this for this many years. I think I've gained the trust and credibility that I can do these things. In my case, I'll tell you, it just happened was uh, I was married, wife, we were both in the US, just young couple, and for family reasons we wanted to come back. And I basically took that as a deal that, okay, you want to come back, I'll come back, but when I come back, I'm going to start up. So no more expectation of a fixed salary coming in and things like that. To each your own, there's always that leverage that you have at your own family level and the people that you care about level, and find out that leverage. But those are the things that I think we have to start working on and actioning on before that muscle starts building up. And then there's a day when you think that, yes, I took a irrational decision. Actually, no, you've been working on it for a while now. So it's not like a day, one overnight switch.
It's not a step
actually-
function.
Yeah.
But you're saying you're working towards it. But when you're taking that decision,
Yeah.
you also have been working towards, as you rightly said, you worked in the US, you were working in tech. So, in a way, you're also building certain resources, right? Like the term SRSs, which is affordable loss. And what was your affordable loss?
I felt that two, three things were right at that time was just like really smart folks, students here at IIM, who today have the credibility of the biggest brand that's been supported, or just the tenacity, that ability that you can get into the top 0.1% and whatever that is. In my case, that was largely is I just happened to be at the right place where for the first couple of years I learned things in tech that just wasn't common knowledge that time. Uh, if you many of us have used Skype, I used to work in the guts of Skype in early days. It just happens to be luck. I just happened to be there where the hardest problems on internet were being solved there, and there were tons of folks working on there, and I just happened to be there, right? So, but that happens to be there is today. So many folks are working on UPI, Aadhaar, fintech, e-commerce, online influencer building. There's so many things happening. That time it was just a narrow sliver of like one or two opportunity. In my case, I just happened to be there, and I connected the dots with this trend on cloud and open source and ability to sell online, and just the muscle memory or the expertise of as a techie, I could bring in a couple of folks and build that out. So the throwaway Bangalore techie was that 20 years ago, and that helped that time. That's all.
So, if I were to use a metaphor, well, not a really pleasant metaphor, but if I were to recast this as a metaphor, you're saying that you do have a bunch of spare parts that you're converting that into a rifle.
Yes.
But how do you spot an opportunity? Because if you say that I should shoot here, you don't have too many shots. It is not like a cannon. You really have a very tiny timing and fire. What is that? What do they call it? Power? Firepower or dry powder. Dry powder
Yeah.
that is being
Yeah.
used as. You don't have too many shots
Yeah.
at it. So how do you choose
Yeah.
where to point and then where to pursue?
You're absolutely right. I think that this is the at least one kind of a thread I've seen through a lot of founders or entrepreneurs or the so-called serial entrepreneurs or things like that is this term that I'd learned in the management book for a long back was I think it's from Antigo was let the chaos reign in and then you reign in the chaos. And I think is skills like networking, going out of your comfort zone and trying out things, experiencing through folks, like if you're in the engineering or you're in the tech, see how sales happen. If you're in sales, see how online marketing happens. You're in marketing, see how leadership team is built or see how financing happening. Is only when you try out these various set of skills is when you start looking at it is okay, you start looking at things very differently, very opportunistically. Versus when you're doing your job, 9 to 5 job, and I'm good at one thing, there's only one lens that you get. So what I'm trying to say when I say muscle building is truly you're trying to build this lens of bringing in multiple things and seeing an opportunity, right? So today when you look at UPI and other, you speak with folks who are early team member at Flipkart or Freshworks, they see things very differently than someone who's spent time in the first year in McKinsey or a much larger company. If you were in the first 50 team and say Freshworks, Freshdesk, you saw the entire spectrum of business, even though you were in a silo. And you saw that right in front of your eyes, you were part of it, you were doing it. So perhaps one of those things helps. And my advice largely is people who have the right capability backing, like IIM or an IIT or ISB or something like that, go join a startup. Leave everything else, go join a startup. Because that's when you start building up your muscle and also this entire lens of looking at opportunity from various things. So I feel that is you have to build that lens of connecting the dots and seeing an opportunity, and that doesn't happen in your 9 to 5 cushy comfort zone role, and that doesn't happen. You have to risk yourself in trying other things.
So one of the examples I gave in the class when you're looking at opportunity is entrepreneurship is like playing Minesweeper. We are at the same broadly around the generation where you know what Minesweeper is, right? I'm not sure if the current generation would even know what this game was. So what is your strategy to play Minesweeper? You don't have a strategy, right? So if you look at, I don't know if you wasted time on Minesweeper. I did waste a lot of time. Oh, you didn't? Okay, then bad example.
I did the physical life Minesweeper. All the time it's a Minesweeper.
Okay. So let's say, like, look at your journey through one click. What did you start with, and how did it go? You've been mentioning chance a couple of times, and I do remember you saying that there's quite a bit of serendipity that played out at one click.
Yes. So then I'll, if I may, I'll take a couple of minutes. Then let me look at all the chance things that happen at one click. Okay. So I have a job. I have a tech job. I'm fairly high up in the early days career, doing everything. But in 2010, 2011, I hear in my housing community email group that NSRCEL has started this weekend chats or talks for entrepreneurs.
So that we did.
Yeah.
Startup Saturday,
Startup Saturday,
Head
single.
Start. Yeah.
So, how many folks actually skip their usual Saturday routine of going to meso or cycling or a Kappan park, tree hugging, or any of those things, and come here and this
Yes.
and there's actually 4 founders sitting on the room sharing their notes. This is what you could do. So that's number one. I'm here. So I just happened to be here. I visited one Saturday, second Saturday, and third Saturday they put in a group saying that is, hey, NSRCEL new cohort is coming. Why don't you pitch? Great. So then I'm looking for is I'm a tech person. I don't even know how to build a deck, how to put a pitch. I just happen to see that there are folks there who are mentors here are actually my neighbors. So when I go to them, a person who's no more, unfortunately, Abraham Kuruvilla.
Yeah, he was a big supporter.
He made the entire deck for me. He may help me how to make a pitch deck and things like that. And at the same time, I'd put a note out saying, hey, I'm trying to build a logo. Newbie, right?
Yes.
The first thing a newbie does is a name and a logo instead of building something or selling something. I put that. And there's this person responds back, hey, why don't I take you for a tea? I'll help you with the logo. I'm like, who is this person? Why is he helping with that person? And we discussing over tea, coffee, half an hour happens, 25 happens. Man, this guy was articulate. He was articulate. I'm super impressed on how he's approaching communication and all those things. I don't understand any of those things. And then he says, I can help you. And I'm like, why will you help you? Who are you and why should I listen to you? Then he opens up his website and he shows me his name. He's a Cannes Award winner.
Oh, really?
He comes from an advertising background with a Cannes. How often do you run into a Cannes winner in your world here, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. So when you know that so many things are just falling in line, and then I said oh, I need an office and I'm a little stickler to these legal things. I can't run it out of office. So I put a note that is, hey, I want to start an office, but I have only 5,000 rupees rental capacity. Who will me give this rent? Some VP in Google actually owns a shop there in Bangalore. And he says, oh, I want to support entrepreneurs, but I have this small place upstairs where the security sits. I'll empty him out, you sit there. And then I talk to him, and then he says, I like what you're doing. Here's a check.
Oh,
I
really?
still have that check. I've never encashed that check. He just wrote that itself. Like the end of the day, he wrote like a 2.5 lakh, 3 lakhs check in 2010. What this happens now is, now you should have the ability to read these signals, right? How can you be at the NSRCEL and ability to pitch, somebody able to help you with the pitch deck, someone who knows what communication is, building a logo, and even somebody's writing a check. Something is like,
that is exactly what we really wanted to do so when people kept asking me, why are you all doing these events? The idea, so who's going to talk? Who are the speakers? I always told these guys, that's irrelevant. The relevant thing is to get a bunch of people together, co-located, and let conversations happen. And you start to notice that, oh, I can do this for you, and that barter system, or you're doing something exciting, people giving you inputs. I do remember some of these guys putting up their website and immediately 700 guys hitting it and giving you inputs, right?
Yeah.
It was really early days,
Yeah,
as you rightly said.
Absolutely, right? So those happen, and then we put up the product, and then I wanted a salesperson. And then at that time, I was going somewhere, and he said, why don't you come to this football match? I'm like, okay, I'll come there. And there's this kid who's played the football and everything, and he comes by and he says, oh, I have a job in Pina. I don't like going to Pina. Can you give me a sales job? And so, yeah, and that's why my first sales hire. He's right now senior director, Freshworks, all of Europe.
Really?
So Clifton Lobo, check him out. He's a kid playing football. I met him there. So I'm just saying that's just the openness to try out things. But the serendipity isn't helping.
No, but so important thing in all of this is to ask. Right?
Yes,
so if you don't ask, if you keep things to yourself, then you're not going to enable serendipity to come.
You're not serendipity, and also you have to, this muscle building I keep saying, right, is you start taking bigger and bigger and bigger risks, wherein you grow bigger, more and more foolish. For example, the first pitch deck that I prepared after NSRCEL, a friend of mine said, hey, I know someone in Sequoia who I going to pitch. Like, there were seed funds, there were other funds. No, I straight went to Sequoia to pitch. And in the first 5 minutes, he was like, I could see a smirk on his face, like, who's this kid and what is he pitching and what is
Technology product.
Yeah, but all he did was, you know what, at least you made an effort. I'm going to do one intro. Right.
Okay.
And he made an intro to a seed fund. Now you have to understand, work backwards. There are like 5 or 10 seed funds. There are hundreds of entrepreneurs. Any given day, they have like 50, 30 emails in their inbox. They ignoring.
Yes.
And a Sequoia partner makes an intro.
Right.
It just connects.
Referral.
It just connects.
Legitimate.
That happens to be in my deck. Now that's Karthik Reddy at Bloom. He comes for the UBCT had just opened up that time, and he invites me for a coffee, and he says,
I think he was also starting out, right?
Yeah, Bloom Fund 1.
Yeah.
So he's also looking for these entrepreneurs, and he says, I don't understand what this tech is, but I'm willing to bet, but you need to get a lead. So then the next 3 months is, I don't even know what it lead means, what a cap table means. But now, of course, thanks to NSRCEL, you're coaching all these. There are folks who understand this thing. Professor Sabri was here, who's built that entire thing, right? He knows what that foundation of valuation or cap table is. So I'm understanding that. And then one more big serendipity happens is, you have a competition going on called ASEAN Entrepreneurial, something happening in Japan.
We want to send somebody.
So ASEAN, whatever, 10, 15 countries have to send 2 or 1. What is the chance that you pick one of them, that's me, and you send me there?
I think 1.
1.
Yeah.
You are there, and there is this startups from China who have made CNC machine and robotics. There are startups from Japan who have these super micro satellites that they're shipping. And I have a small software that barely works, and I'm showing that one. So yes, I got my sense of that. But there is one more Indian. There were 2 Indians there. There's me who was there in those 2 days in Japan. There's one more who's R. Narayanan or Naru, who's an early investor, seed, HNI, angel. For some reason, Chennai Thai had sent him there. He was also bored because I don't understand what this, and he's asked me, Rishi, let's go play pachinko. Oh, really? You know what is pachinko. Right. Then I realized pachinko is like a US Japan slot machine, I think. And I'm like, NSRCEL has taken all this bet. They made me an ambassador of all these entrepreneurs. They sent me to Japan. And here's this guy asking me to play pachinko.
You're like in this loud.
Now you take a call. And I'm like, chalo bhaiya. I go with him. So I hang out the entire 2 days with him. I tell him how the journey started, what I'm building, where I'm selling. And now I need to raise money. And Karthik is here willing to raise a check and bring them. So we are now heading back. We're in Singapore. He's got his Chennai plane. I got my Bangalore plane. And that time he says, Rishi, I like you. Tell Karthik I'll match his number.
Really?
Lead is done. That is my first fundraise done. So you have to now understand this all is happening within 6 months period. So you have somebody who's building a communication logo, somebody who's willing to be a sales guy. I am able to build stuff and I can demo stuff. NSRCEL is willing to bag and put me out there. Somebody is willing to write the check. So all the pieces that are needed to truly build a quote-unquote a mature-ish organization are falling in place. Just because you're taking risks, things are happening there and the ecosystem is there. And I have since then repeated that playbook no matter what.
Really? You think it still works?
Yeah, it still works. That same thing of any new intro, do not ignore. Any invite, do not ignore. Of course, I used to do 1,000 networking sessions. I've now reduced that dramatically because there's just so many other things to do. But any new ideas, I don't ignore. I meet that one. Anybody who's helping with communication, I do that one. Anything new that I don't know, what's happening on healthcare, what's happening on social, I have no ideas there, but I participate in those things. I play around with those things, and that playbook has constantly helped. And I'm seeing that's not with me. I've seen that with Girish. I've seen that with my other set of co-founders that I've seen with Sami or Sri Krishna and other things is they are always eager to try something new, experience something new, and that having that starter and mindset and being like hyper foolish, it just adds up, and you see an opportunity all the time. And then this lens of opportunity just develops and develops and develops, and then you start doing things.
So you're saying the ability to look at the world and then spot dots and the way in which you connect them, there has to be serendipity. But what you seem to be saying is that sometimes being driven with a very narrow focus may actually come in your way because you are saying that I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But broadly, you were saying that I don't know, I want to do this, I may want to do this, but you're talking to people, you're getting some signals. So from this noise that is happening, you're able to identify that little signal and amplify that.
Absolutely. In the 0 to 1, in your early phase, chaos has importance. And there's a time when you keep the rein in the chaos. But let there be a chaos, let there be these random motions that happens, that opens up new doors, that opens up new ideas, that opens up new networking opportunities, that opens up new partnership. It has to happen. And this entire usual advice very early on of laser focus and all those things, that's actually a very later in the game advice that makes sense. When you're operating at a 20 million, 30 million, 50 million business, that it makes absolutely sense at that time. But in early days, 0 to 1, when you are yourself going through a transformation, let that nudge for transformation come from outside, and you'll be surprised what happens. And it's just that sometimes this our way of education, our way of building credibility gets in the way.
Yes.
That has definitely I've seen now is we are a little too Saraswati heavy and less Lakshmi heavy in some of our things, and that I think gets in our way of doing. Sorry, I'm saying that in education.
No, in the sense that if you look at very strangely, right? We want to build managerial cadre for this nation. And we are a very specific CAT exam where the definite answers. Building a cadre for jobs that really don't have a right answer, right? Transforming them in order to do selection, saying that you're able to do this, now transforming them to say that, you know what, there isn't no right answer. You need to kind of explore a bit and things like that. But I do remember you saying that your exit from 1K was also a big serendipity, right?
Yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying is like the entire 12-year journey has been just like, it's so hard. It's like, oh, you were just in a random Brownian random motion and you just happen to be lucky. Yeah, it could be that way. But to develop a thick skin for that, to allow yourself for that is a nature change in nature, and you can sign up for that. So 2 years a year and a half, of course, I've raised money now, and a year and a half, I've been trying to sell this tech product in India. It's hard. India B2B sales is hard even today, and it was 100 times harder 10 years ago. And I switched to, you know what, I need to sell to US. Then I don't know how to sell to US. The time zones are different. I'm not flying there. I'm here. How to do that? So I started looking for partners. And someone said that, you know what, Zoho is a great culture. Zoho is a great company. And they have a marketplace where things can plug in and they take you to the market. So I found an intro through my investors to Zoho, product managers. So I happened to go to Chennai. But when I was doing that particular person was connected. At that time, he quit Zoho and then he joined a newer company called Freshdesk.
Oh, is that okay?
And he says, you know, Rishi, you are never going to get through Zoho. I know that all. Something will happen here. Okay. Fine. So I now, instead of going to Chennai, Zoho, Perambattur or one of the places, I now go to Velachery, which is around, which is where Freshdesk is. So I go to their offices and I meet the product managers there. I'm doing all these things and things like that. So this goes on 1 month, 2 months, and I got a demo and all those things. And 3 months later or something, I got a call. I got a ping from Girish. We'll see you then. Rishi, why don't you come? We'll chat. And I'm going there, and I still, when I land there, you just know that the founder is asked to come there, but he's got a million things. But anyways, I go there, I spent all day, and I'm still talking with product managers and salespeople and other things. And I have no meeting with Girish yet. And it's about 3:30, and I'm heading out. So this is a known secret. It's not that. So about 3:30, Girish takes a nap, like a power nap. He takes a power nap. And I'm heading out, and the guy who's introduced me, I'm like, yeah, there, and I saw Girish's note. One hi, hello makes sense. And he says, but this is power nap time, let me. And Girish being Girish, like such a big heart, bring him in, I'll chat with him. And I go there, and looks like this was all a play because he
Oh,
was
is it?
ready. He was ready. Where's your website? He goes to the website. He clicks it, and there's a video chat there. He clicks that, and voila, my sales guy is sitting outside.
Okay.
Of course, I knew that, so I put my sales guy waiting there. I was like, I'm there for 4 hours. You will be waiting for there for
Don't
4 hours. And there's Clifton sitting on the other side with a cheerful smile and a all. And he said, what is this? Whose product is this? Who is this guy? I said, they're all mine. The product is mine, this, that. And that's it. And then in the next 10 minutes, he asked, I know you've been looking to integration, this, that. Are you open to talking about getting acquired? This was something that was not in the playbook at all.
What a syllabus.
This was not in the playbook at all. We had not thought. And I don't even know what that conversation means. I don't know what acquisition means and things. So now I said, okay,
Sounds good.
sounds good. Let me go back and think. But he had one condition. Wherever this conversation goes, here's a gentleman's handshake. If you say yes, we will make it happen. And the second condition is that you need to move to Chennai.
Or you, the
And
team.
The team needs to move to Chennai. That was it. So I came back, spoke to my investors, and this was exciting. And if I'm not wrong, one click as a tech acquisition by a company like Freshworks was perhaps the first acquisition within the entire ecosystem. And there's so much help that came from NSRCEL at that time.
Yeah, because we made mistake with Mango in order to converse, in order to put our value proposition. Because Mango, when it got acquired with Qualcomm, there were a lot of things. Sean came back and said, look, you all need to understand how to negotiate tech because your lawyer doesn't understand, your entrepreneur doesn't understand. Actually, as a nation, we don't understand. Like, we never even believed that you could have great tech come out of India.
Yeah.
And you have companies like Qualcomm saying that I want to acquire you.
Absolutely.
And we don't know for what. As in, so
Yes.
are you going to pay me $100 million? We don't even know how those conversations take place.
Yes.
Right?
And there's just so many barriers or barriers that you're also breaking, right? There's usually this perception is, oh, are you sure you want to raise VC money? This is perception. Are you sure you want to sell your company? Are you sure you want to get acquired? These are all seen as a negative thing. Whereas in the tech, this is the bread and butter of the tech business. Getting acquired, products coming in, financing happening, VC exits, employee exits is why people get into tech in the first place, right? So you just have to ask yourself the same basics. So this is perhaps just a couple of years being in the US, seeing that thing in action, gave that sense like, hey, something like this happens, and it's not out of thin air that you're trying to make it happen in Bangalore or Chennai. And we just replicating that here. So a lot of things fell in place that time. But yeah, even the exit was just pure serendipity.
It must have been one of the early exits for Bloom even, right?
Yes, yeah. I think the first exit. Yeah.
First exit.
Yeah. Bloom was first exit. Perhaps among the first few for NSRCEL. Because first for me in my life. But first for Girish also. First for Axel also. It was a first for so many things, and there was just so many learnings for so many people. What I know came out of that is that it opened up this entire thing is this is possible. This is possible. And since then, Freshworks itself has gone through 8 or 10 acquisitions. And it's now like such a common thing, M&A, that's happening here. And that M&A can happen for an acqui-hire or for a tech or for a market or some other deal or something. But they're happening, and it's now a common.
So the deal vocabulary is now increased so much.
Yeah, right? It's okay, and it's seeped into the culture, at least in Bangalore culture.
Yes.
And that's that thing. But again, I'm saying, right, it's just one luck thing against second luck. But the key thing I can talk about from the ecosystem, be it Bloom, be it Naru, be it NSRCEL, be it my co-founders, be it my team, and other things is just the how they have also evolved through that 3-year, 4-year, 5-year journey of this taking of this risk, trying this out makes sense versus this narrow focus of let me just build this tech, let me just make this sale, let me just get this money. No, you just have to fan out more paths, fan out more options, and then things happen.
So there is a book called The Luck Factor, apparently. People are lucky. Some people are lucky than others. So I think Richard Wiseman wrote this book, but even did a bunch of experiments to figure out why are some people luckier than others. So he asked a bunch of people to go to a restaurant, a cafe, get some coffee, and then come back and meet. So apparently everything was a setup. So when people were entering that particular cafe, before you entered, there was a £5 note somewhere on the side that is not directly in your vision, but if you've been looking hither, you would have found that £5 note. And then you would go in and talk to the barista saying whatever you want. Apparently, the whole cafe is filled with people, but there's only one seat that is available. In front was a very big businessman of that particular city. So he says the people who were not lucky went straight into the cafe, opened the door, did not look hither, go to the counter, order the coffee, picked it up, sat in front of this man, didn't make any conversation, and left. And the people who are lucky, when Wiseman asked what happened, they said it was a wonderful morning. I was walking up to a cafe, I saw this £5 note. I went and talked to the barista, and I ordered my coffee, sat at this table. As luck would have it, there was this person in front of me who was one of these very big businessmen, and then had this very nice conversation with him. And there were opportunities that he said, in case I'm doing something, I could reach out. Right? So it isn't something that is preordained. It is something that you need to work on. These little things around talking to people next to you,
You're absolutely
being at places. I'm too busy. I can't come and be a speaker at this event. I don't want to attend this networking event. This purposefulness actually diminishes your all probability of success,
Well,
of serendipity.
so that same in many ways plays out in careers and work at workplace also. I've seen you have a lunch gang or you have a happy hour gang, and there are two really separate groups that I see is groups which are very homogeneous and the same kind of groups. It's same techies who hang around.
Yes.
It's the same sales guys who hang around. Versus there's always a couple of them who will just sneak out. The sales guy hanging out with the tech guys because he wants to know what the roadmap is, or a tech guy chatting with the marketing guy because I don't know why, but he's just curious. Maybe he wants to get more points somewhere else, and the luck there plays out. It's just amazing. I'm not saying that that should be the playbook for everyone, but wherever an upgrade has happened and you see that upgrade has happened because of luck factor, it's because of this.
Bridging.
That has happened because of that. Of course, your own skill, your own this one is a path in its own, and not discounting that in any ways. But it's just the wherever you know that there's a step function luck-based change has happened. That has happened largely because you are outside your comfort zone, and every time you're outside your comfort zone or a sustained period, good things just happen.
So now moving on, you started another venture which you sold.
Yeah.
But there's a distinct difference in the kind of opportunity you pursued in your second venture from your first venture. You looked at a very uninteresting space. Very, very uninteresting space that would earlier you were looking at tech, you were looking at Skype, you obviously conditioned from what you saw there, you build a wonderful tech product, right? How did this identifying that value come in?
Awesome. There was many years over here only in NSRCEL, 4 or 5 years ago. You had a entrepreneur from China who was here, or maybe one of these Chinese cohort or something like that was here. And that person in the room made this comment that a serial entrepreneur's first time entrepreneur is passion, second time is market, and the third time is philanthropy or something like that. That there is a playbook for 3 times entrepreneur itself shows how much serialness is there in China. Yeah. But that is how largely it plays out is when you're doing whatever you're doing for the first time, you're largely playing out of your whatever early strengths are. You just, I'm good at tech or I understand this, I'll play out that. And 9 out of 10 times, most of the time, it's not even skill, it's just passion. Right?
Okay.
That's
Build
one of the
skill.
basically, and that's one of the hard part that I see with so many founders. Everybody wants to change the education system in India because there's passion to fix that, but there's no market there, right? So I think it's the second time when I came in there, I wanted to look at it from a lens which is not driven by passion or skill, but it's more about what are some of the resources or ability I can gather and put together to go after a large market. So it was truly market first, opportunity first kind of a
TAM.
TAM first kind of a perspective, because the passion, skill, other check boxes had gone through that anyways. I'd known some playbooks like this. What does it take for the initial build out? I need some seed fund. I know how to do that one. I need a bunch of early team. I know how to build that one. I know how to sell, find out the earlier interest customers. I know that one. All I wanted to figure out is these 4 or 5 options that we are going after, are those markets large enough? So US was a large market. Within that, picked up something like an operations, sales operations, which was a perennially evergreen market, but tech hasn't seeped in for a long time. So that seemed. And the third was, at least the last many years, more than the tech, greater user experience has been like the wedge in terms of all opportunities. That is, almost everything is being redesigned, because with a greater user experience, you're able to attract change management in terms of buying behavior or spend behavior, anything like that. So we
So
went
maybe
into that.
we're being a little bit cryptic. I think people don't even know what we're talking about.
uh,
Maybe you should describe what this venture was.
Okay, so let me talk that. So the second venture was largely was called Revv, and the focus was how can large companies make buying decisions or sales decisions or operations decisions easier, right? For example, you are a company of like 1,000 people, and you today have to do some purchase. So you have a Word doc which has all your contracts. That has to be reviewed by your finance team. That has to be reviewed by your legal team. That has to be reviewed by a sponsor team, and then it has to go to the buyer, to the seller team. They will do the same thing, and then there are so many contract deals, and then it has to be signed, and then it has to go back into some legal system. What we had seen after many years, that there are tens of people working, there are tens of these. You put that in your hard disk, you put that in your email, you put that in your Salesforce, you put that in. There are tens of places that was put, and this was an extremely inefficient and costly process, and a lot of mistakes happened. And we streamlined it like literally 5 clicks. Literally 5 clicks. Here's your template document. Here's your automated review. Here's your collaboration. Here's your e-signature. Here's your payment. Done.
So this is for only contracts, is it?
This was, we call it deal desk.
Deal desk.
Yes,
Okay.
we call it like the deal management. So it basically solved it for companies like, I'll give you an example, like Masai, who used to have a lot of paperwork to onboard these students, right? Masai is giving a second chance to students so that they get job opportunities. And when you get a job, they take a small slide cut off their salary, so there's contract done. And they used to have reams and reams of papers in rooms, and they had operations teams of 15 people and 20 people. 6 months from our adoption, all paperwork gone. Ops team is now just 2 people, and their scale has gone 10x. Right, so from 200 students to 2,000 students. Right, so that's the kind of impact that we get from bringing in automation. So we basically
document automation.
Yes, we brought in automation in your everyday paperwork, which is at a large company very painful and error prone and just human intensive, and we just automated that. And that was the market we went after. And the market we went after was not India. We went after US.
Why?
US is just so much of willingness to solve for productivity, so much of willingness to pay for gains in productivity, and also just the repeatability in terms of sales cycles and other things. So we targeted US, we targeted mid market, like $20,000-$30,000 to maybe $100,000 kind of a price, not $15, not $1,000,000. So mid market, and our sales motion was like inbound plus sales supported, assisted sales, we call it. So that was what the market was.
And was it easy raising money, raising team? That was pretty simple.
No, I wouldn't say any of this was easy. I mean, starting from scratch, all part is hard. I would only say that we committed less mistakes. We ended up with the same repeated mistakes of whom to pitch to, what should be the pitch, whom to raise from, how to raise, how to build the entire valuation, all those things. There's in the early days we've just gone through so many learnings and gaps. So all those things reduced significantly in the second. It's just that, for example, the first one I still remember in one click. Whenever somebody would ask what your target market is, I'd put 50 countries.
Oh, okay.
Right?
You don't know.
You don't know. So I'm like, oh, this is global. This is internet. I can sell it to anyone. Versus the second deck didn't even have a country. It had specifically 3 states that I had mentioned.
In US.
US. California, New York, Florida. I will sell it only here. So that's what kind of a specificness I had. That is, this is where the buyers are. This is where the market is. This is where the price point is. This is where the sales pitch is going to be, and we'll sell them. So where is it we're talking about 50 countries and where we're talking about 3 states within one country? Right? That's like the reduce the number of mistakes. Even now I'm looking at even the 3 states was like perhaps a mistake. Maybe perhaps just start with one city or one town, one set of businesses, and then go after that.
So basically, because this is a very common problem across all businesses.
Common,
irrespective of the size of the business.
Irrespective of the size of business, it is a
or are you looking at a certain size?
No, what you're looking for is a early traction. What you're looking for is a momentum. What you're looking for is learnings, like fast feedback and learnings. And what you want to look at it is like a cohort of people that I will try this out and this works for the next 3 months, I'll double down. If this doesn't work, let me change the entire code. Versus, oh, I'll sell in India also, I'll sell in Middle East also, I'll in Singapore also, I'll sell in US. Legal systems are different, contract system is different, buyer behavior is different, everything is different. I don't even know what to compare, what to win, right? And you have limited resources. How do you build out a sales channel? How do you build a marketing channel? How do you build a product for these companies? Those becomes the challenge. So the only difference between the first time and the second time was still the same number of mistakes. It's just that it were new mistakes and not new.
Okay, so not the ones that you made earlier. Okay. So again, what was the decision to sell it? Why did you want to scale it to multiple?
No, I felt that the learning from the first exit was, if you find right kind of employees, right kind of investors, right kind of acquisition partners, right people, great human beings, great market, great opportunity, awesome upside, explore. Don't give up for some theoretical perceptions that you have. You go for it. That was the learning out of that. Fresh Desk went IPO, Freshworks, such a huge upside for everyone. It was a cultural ecosystem changing behavior that happened.
Yes.
Personally and for the teams, it was such an upside. And Girish, Freshworks team, great human being, great people. You want to work with somebody like that, right? So something that's really, SaaS is such a
growing space,
redefining of the landscape kind of a thing, and Girish is leading that, and you'll be part of that. Something similar happened in legal also in the second acquisition. Really awesome team, great market. LegalZoom is a 20-year-old biggest brand in SMB.
In the US?
In the US. They are a 20-year-old brand, biggest brand in SMB. Awesome leadership, great opportunity to learn. So it's a journey that you are on for many, many years, that you want to win in this market, you want to go in this market, and that aligned. And there were also some other forcing functions that happened was, we were among the first companies which were hit very, very hard by COVID.
Oh,
yeah. We would raise money, the product was built out, community was built out, we pivoted. We were doing just fine, but a sustained global impact like COVID, which is not 1 quarter, we're talking about 6 to 8 quarters kind of impact. It takes a toll on a lot of things. So I'm just like sharing all the candid parts of it, is that there was COVID weighing us down, but there was an upside of a great market, again, great repeat of the same kind of people, but in this side, but 10x larger opportunity and an upside. So we just took that opportunity, and it's been now almost 15 months, and that's what it's been. Looks like the right call, and things are just working fine.
So Now that if we were to say you've been successful twice, does it start putting pressure on you that you need to display a certain level of wisdom that comes by like a successful entrepreneur? You need to be right. You need to say the right things. You need to say the things that matter. Is that how the success sits with you?
It happens, and I don't think that's only in the context of a entrepreneurship or exits or something. Um, I think the hardest part is to have a starter mindset or a 0 to 1 mindset. The hardest thing is to always think first principles. The hardest thing is to uh, to stay hungry and stay foolish, because as you go through this journey, you evolve, you quote unquote mature, expectations change, but but at least wherever I am right now, my co-founder, my teams, we try to stay foolish, we try to stay startupish. But yeah, you are right that that expectation comes in, to focus on a few things, to create a particular kind of an aura and thing like that. And that's there. That's always the expectation. But it's a constant fight. Stay hungry, stay foolish is still the right advice.
So, but you think you still have that part of you, which if you were to start again, and things are not aligned as they've been aligned this time, you would still be comfortable saying that at the end of the day, sometimes you can't even rein the chaos.
Yeah. I think embracing failures.
You haven't been. You're not a
No,
failure
no,
by any stretch.
no. I think we've been counting only the upsides of it.
We only always count the hits.
The unlucky part of it, if you were to count, there were a lot of hardships. The day I got into NSRCEL through one click, this was August, September, or something like that on that year. That particular week, the co-founder decided, no, this doesn't work for me.
He left.
He left. Right? So that's there.
You could have become Zooms of the world.
Yeah, right. So that's there. And I'm seeing money happening, growth happening, everything's happening. But tech funding early to 2010 outside e-commerce wasn't big at all.
Yes.
Right? So I've raised money from HNIs and all those things whose expectations are very different. Team churn, the personal toll that it has taken.
Yes. Yeah.
So all those things are there. So what you see is largely just the good things. But yeah, it's so I feel that is when I again said at the start, muscle building, risk taking. I think what I meant by that is you're developing a thicker skin. You're building a ability to face more failures. And like Karthik had this thing is the ability to walk through the wall. And that's the thing that is, yes, you'll bleed, it will hurt, it's a lot of failures, but you keep trying that, and you do not ever stay in your comfort zone, and that's what you start building. So, and I just hope that that stays and you don't get into your comfort zone again.
So over the years, you've been helping us with a lot of mentoring, right? You sat with us. Our WSP one was like you were here every day looking at the slide decks of our women entrepreneurs. You're seen as over the years, right? Like being a mentor for over a decade with us. So what do you see sometimes that you wish that it was a little bit clearer to these young people who are coming in, saying that I want to put a dent in the universe?
So let me first say is I think the in the last 12 years, while you've been counting all the success things for my side, but I think the biggest success story for India, for Bangalore, for the entrepreneur thing has been the consistent growth and the maturity of NSRCEL as the premier number one incubator of this country, hands down.
Thank you.
That has been the biggest growth story that we founders create a noise and hide away, whereas that should not be the case. NSRCEL needs to be the forefront of it. And
so you think we should make more noise?
We should make more noise. The founders here should make more noise. And coming back to when I really meet the awesome entrepreneurs out here, is I feel that they aren't, but while they're using everything, they stepped their foot into this ecosystem itself is the first right decision they've done. But being consistent about that to be extractive of value of NSRCEL is perhaps the biggest change that I would ask of all the entrepreneurs. Don't ask what NSRCEL can do for you, right? And not even like, not that I'm not asking the Kennedy thing, what you can do for them, not even that. Ask what can I extract here?
Yes.
Because you've been the most open book that has been there here. How can I extract most value? Don't, the trees here and the nice buildings are not the value add. They are not the value add. The doors that you can open, the brand that you can offer, and the 13 versus 1300 entrepreneurs that are here right now in the last 10 years, that I think is the biggest opportunity. I'm consistently seeing and that's also because I get to the ringside view of folks from across, is ideas have been tried before, many have succeeded, many have struggled, and yet another one founder comes and they don't even know what others have tried. And my thing is, just reach out to them. So that's my only ask is, NSRCEL today is hands down the best YC level system that's there in India today. Be extremely extractive. Be the leech that you can be possible. And NSRCEL won't judge you. They'll like embrace you. Yeah, just leech us out and you get the value. I think that's the constant missing piece that I see. Selfies are not what to be extracted out of this place, is what my ask is.
Yeah, exactly. I keep telling people, even to our MBA students, that Mithun of Carrot Lane,
yes,
he met Titan CEO Bhaskar Bhatt on campus, and he went and pitched his idea to them. Like he knew something was going to happen, and then Titan was interested. But the fact that here was a person that you could meet not in his office, but in a completely different location. People, there's so many of them walking around. You could get, look at the number of managers who walk, right? And all of them are senior managers in a lot of companies. Many of them don't even talk. I really like this perspective, more so that you are pushing the blame and absolving me of all the responsibility of not mentoring them well. To say that, like, guys, you aren't doing your job properly, ask the right questions, talk around. But yeah, you're right, in the sense that don't look at this as a place in terms of also what can you do. Learn how to play cards, right? It's like how do you play a joker? There isn't a game plan to play a joker. You could be what it wants to be, right?
I have just 2-3 things, right? Let's talk the number one problem for a young or a first-time entrepreneur, first-time entrepreneur would be, I need a co-founder. What better place to find a co-founder in this 90 plus acres place than all of Bangalore or all of Chennai? Where will you find that? How will you even approach that? Take women co-founders. Where will you find your co-founder? Whereas you can actually find them there. That's number one. Number two is, where will you find one place where almost every business model and every market has been tried, has been iterated upon, and that has been documented and recorded and shared, and you can scratch the surface and really learn your few lessons that you're going to learn in 6 months, pick up in 6 days, right? That's number two. And number three is also just, I think with this, again, something that everybody keeps talking about, this Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos, is the regret minimization, right? Okay. So for me, the opposite is morale maximization. That is right. Okay. You need your constant energy. Your morale needs to be high. Your team needs to be high. And this is like the most awesome source of that morale high, right? You have your co-founders. You are able to share your personal challenges. Your family is not supporting you. Your co-founder is not supporting you. Your employees are not doing what they're doing. Your customer is not closing the deal. You're not raising the money. All of that can be talked about over a tea, coffee, or some other fluids, whatever is there.
Not legally on campus, but then there is enough watering holes in the neighborhood.
So I feel that be extremely extractive of the value that NSRCEL offers. That culture is baked in. There is no hiding of stuff. There is no barriers here at all. Everything is yours here, and be extractive of that. And that's, I think, the most standout feature of this institution here, compared to IISCs or IIT Madras or anybody is there. It's the most open ecosystem and supportive ecosystem within the entire country.
Well, thanks a lot. So basically asking, so here's folks on that really high note. Probably we'll take a pause here and stop. So what I've noticed over the years is that there are fewer people coming to campus. COVID has really hit. Bangalore is becoming not a very great city to travel around and be here. We still do events. We still have an open space. But one thing that I have noticed is reduction in the kind of excitement because people are not coming and meeting each other, being very purposeful, talking on Zoom. Zoom doesn't get you to have this conversation at Prabhakar after your meeting to figure out some random stuff, right? And that no purpose conversation can lead to a lot of interesting stuff. So thanks a lot, Rishi. Thanks a lot for coming and giving your time again.
Thanks for having me.
We are going to lean on you forever, for quite some time, I guess. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yeah.